All right, good morning, everybody. It is actually 10:02 a.m., so we're going to go ahead and get started. Just want to let everyone know again that this session will be recorded and it will be shared out with the community. I want to extend a huge welcome to all of you on our fourth Powhatan Strong Community Coffee Chat Series. My name is Katie Matheny, and I'm the Director of Student Services and Intervention. It's so great to see many of you here with us this morning. Just so you're aware, we chose the name Powhatan Strong because that's exactly what we are, a community that stands together. The goal of these sessions is to strengthen the connection between our schools, our families, and our community. We want to keep you informed, to give you a space to ask questions, and make sure that your voice is heard. Today's focus is on parent burnout. We're thrilled to have members of our support team here, along with a representative from our Goochland Powhatan Community Service Board, which we refer to as our CSB. So I'd like to quickly introduce Kelly Sarkis. She is with us. She is our comprehensive intervention specialist. And I'd also like to introduce and welcome Miss Heather Morgan. She will be facilitating this session today, and she is from CSB. Please feel free to use the question and answer feature, which is located on the bottom right hand of your screen. It is a square of 9 dots. Some people refer to it as the waffle. You can type your questions throughout the presentation there. We will get to them at the end of her presentation, and we will do as many as we can. If any of the questions are more building administrator or counselor specific, we will have that particular school's administrator or counselor get back to you after the presentation. So again, thank you for being here, for your partnership, and we're going to go ahead and get started with our Powhatan Strong conversation. So Heather, I will send it over to you.
Thank you, Kelly. Can everyone hear me? Hopefully it's working. Awesome. So good morning. My name, like they said, is Heather Morgan. I'm at the CSB, and today we're going to talk about parent burnout, understanding, preventing, and recovering. So why talk about parent burnout? So these school years add stress. If any of you are parents, you probably are here, you know that there is morning routines from elementary school, middle school, high school. You are not only getting yourself ready, you're having to get the kids ready. Many parents feel overloaded. Burnout is predictable, but it is not personal. So I want to make sure you guys know that it is not a character issue at all, but it is a systems and an overload issue. Some statistics that would be helpful. An Ohio State University study surveying over 700 parents in 2003 found that 57% of parents self-reported burnout. So if you're experiencing stress and burnout, you are not alone. And this is a big issue. So I want to make sure that as a community, we're talking about and addressing it. Next slide. Sorry. It's okay. So what is parent burnout? A chronic state of emotional, mental, physical exhaustion related to the parental role. Parents, and I know I'm a parent, so sometimes it is, I'm not good at taking care of myself, but if I know that by taking care of myself, I'm going to take care of my kids more. So wanted to share kind of some facts with you too. Parents' mental health and behaviors strongly impact their children's mental health. So if their children have a mental health disorder, parents also report a higher level of burnout and a greater likelihood for them to start utilizing insult, criticizing, screaming, or physical harm to their children, like repeated spanking. So higher levels of reported parent burnout and harsh parenting practices are also associated with more mental health problems in children. So that is also why this is important, because it does not only affect you, but if it's something that goes unaddressed, it creates kind of that generational trauma. Next slide, please. So kind of comparing the difference. So regular stress versus parent burnout. Normal parental stress, which we all experience, temporary, situational. It's a busy morning, we're getting everyone ready, stressed, kid spills something, we are freaking out. That is not necessarily burnout. That is normal, temporary, situational. Feeling drained, but still emotionally available. We all have those days that back-to-back meetings, there's just a lot going on. At the end of the day, we're feeling tired. Again, that is not burnout. That is normal parental stress. With that normal parental stress, you typically recover with rest. So have a good nap or have a good night's sleep, and the next day you're feeling refreshed. You are not experiencing parental burnout. It is normal parental stress. Irritable but functional. Again, so we all experience it, but that does not mean that it is parent burnout. Now, what is parent burnout? It is chronic, it is ongoing, and it creates an emotional distancing from your kids. I want to make sure you guys know that the emotional distancing is not a sign of lack of love. It is a sign of burnout. It is a sign of your cup is empty. You are drained and you feel like you don't have anything left to give. Does not mean you don't love your child, but it means you need to start focusing on you a little bit more. You never feel refilled. So no matter how much coffee you're drinking in the morning, no matter how much sleep you're getting, you're taking extra naps, you're like trying to eat, you're just never feeling refilled. High irritability, detachment, and shame. Those feelings of my child just asked me a question and I just snapped at them. Why did I do that? What was that even about? I'm not actually mad at them, but I feel like every little thing is getting on my nerves. Don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, but that is a sign of burnout, early sign. So again, normal stress today was hard. Burnout is that feeling of every day feels impossible. I also want to point out that this is the same that a lot of mental health clinicians will use when diagnosing mental health concerns. So we all experience anxiety. We all sometimes experience depression. That does not always mean that you have a diagnosis of anxiety disorder or depression. So similar between stress and burnout, it is the frequency that you're experiencing it, the level of the duration of it. So how long is it happening for you, and the impact it's having on your life. Again, if you are still feeling stressed, but you feel like you are still able to function, that is not really the burnout side of it, but it can lead to it if you're not addressing your mental health. Next one. So what are some core symptoms of parental burnout? Emotional and physical exhaustion. Again, emotional distancing from your children. I know everyone here loves their child and you can bright up your day by getting a hug from them, but there are some times, again, as parents, we might feel touched out, not want that, and just feeling like I can look at my child, but I'm not feeling that same love right here. That's emotional distancing. That is, I don't know if I can hear them cry right now. That is just sending me up the wall. Those are signs that you might be experiencing parental burnout. Feeling ineffective or like you're failing. We have all felt that way. I know I myself have felt that way sometimes. When the stressors build up, it's a lot easier to fall into feelings of guilt, shame, of I'm not a good parent, I'm not doing A, B, C, or D. And that can really turn into a pretty bad spiral if left unaddressed too. Because then no matter what you do, you're never feeling like enough. Be on slide 6. Let me see. Go to the next slide. Sorry. Some K through 12 parenting pressures. So trying to make this more school applicable too. Again, routines and early mornings are often a sign. What time is the school bus coming? What all do you have to do to get yourself ready? I have personally 2 dogs, 2 cats, and now a bearded dragon along with my child at home. Getting everyone ready can feel like chaos. If my husband is sleeping in, okay, it's just me. I'm getting myself ready. I'm running to get Avery ready. I'm running to do this. I've got to feed the dogs. So routines and early mornings, especially for school age, can be a lot. And then after school, homework and activities. There's all the pressure, make sure we get all of their assignments done. We want to make sure our kids are learning and that we are doing the best we can to help their education and activities. how many activities your child wants to do, let alone any that you might want to do. So I don't know how many parents out here are even doing some activities for themselves. We pour so much into our children, especially K through 12, and it is a wonderful thing, but just being aware of all of these extra pressures too. Digital overload. So that is one I really want to talk about. So when it comes to, the other one, sorry, too, for school, constant school communication, transportation, just juggling all of that. But when it comes to social media, we are in a very new era. We are constantly inundated with videos, news, media about the right way to parent. How to look, how to dress, how to feel, be healthy, do this, eat this. Don't be too hard on your child, but also you need to be firm. There are so many opinions out there, whether it is on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, even in the news, of the right way to parent. And what that does is we're facing information overload. Our brains were designed in a time when our village is supposed to be, I think the maximum was like 50 to 100 people is what our brains were used to being able to take in. So the opinions of others is very important to us. We are social creatures. But in this day and age, social media has where you are now getting the opinions of people on the other side of the world, people you have never met, and it is hard. It feels like it is constant pressure from everyone. So if you are feeling that pressure, you are not alone, and it is also normal. Our brains were wired for social connection and to make sure that we are liked by other people. But just keeping that in mind of what social media is kind of doing to us, and it can be a great resource to learn from, but also just be mindful of your use of that, especially in the parenting realm too. So again, what it also does is it activates the compare system in our brains. So if we are also hard on ourselves, we're constantly comparing, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? Oh, that mom on Instagram created this wonderful activity for her kids. How is she doing that? I don't have the time to do that. I must be a failure. And it just really reinforces that no matter what we do, it's not good enough. You guys will probably have heard the term, we're constantly juggling ourselves, comparing to these others, and it's an unrealistic standard. These are oftentimes social media people that is their job, is to create that content. And so getting ideas, but not comparing yourself and saying, this is what I need. Parent guilt, or what is commonly referred to as mom guilt. Dads have it too, but typically it comes a little bit more from the mom side of things. And I can speak from the mom side too. Feelings of I'm not enough, or if I do something for myself, I feel selfish. I don't know if any of you have felt that way. I know that I certainly have too. Next one. Oh, and sorry, before she switches over, developmental shifts. So as a parent to a toddler, I know that you have phases that you feel like you've mastered it. Oh, I got my kid. We are down pat. Right when you're feeling that kind of level, there's a developmental change, and they change. And all of the things that used to work no longer work. It drives you crazy because all of those tools that you gathered in your toolbox, you're feeling confident, you are good to go. None of it's working now. That also contributes to parental pressures and parent burnout. Now we can move to the next slide, sorry. So also, again, this is not your fault. This is structural factors. What are some of the structural factors that are playing in our world today? So mental health barriers. We have access CSB. I will share with you guys resources later too, but there is still not enough mental health resources in our society. There's also barriers and stigma from getting help. Childcare gaps. That is a really hard. Most parents today both are working. So there's not the traditional stay-at-home mom. If you are a traditional stay-at-home mom, absolutely no judgment, and I think that is wonderful too. But there's just not enough childcare in our society right now. Childcare expenses is also really, most childcare is the price of a mortgage or more right now, which is insane. So that is another structural factor that is contributing to parent burnout. Limited paid leave. Think of maternity leave. Most in the United States, that is not a requirement at all. In other countries, they get 6 months a year, depending on, but there's just not a lot. And so what that does is parents are having to go back to work sooner. You're not getting a lot of that support, and you're just having to juggle a lot more before your body is even healed. So that is another structural factor. And inequitable resources. So this is also something that poverty plays a role in. If you don't have access to certain goods and services or healthcare in general, those are going to add on to your parental stress too. Not only am I taking care of myself, but can I afford to take my child to the doctor? There's just lots of different structural factors in our world right now that is really impacting it. So again, if you're experiencing it, you are not alone, and it is not you. Our society is working and needs to get better at supporting families. Harvard researcher reported that 36% of all Americans, including 61% of young adults and 51% of mothers with young children, feel serious loneliness. Social isolation can result in increased levels of stress, anxiety, depression, and the onset of mental health issues. When one lacks encouragement from family or friends, it can lead to negative thoughts about oneself and feelings of hopelessness. Parents who are socially isolated are more likely to feel alone in their struggles and have greater difficulty coping with stressors. We'll put to the next one. Invisible labor. Again, this often is referred for mothers, but not going to make it a generalization there either. Dads can experience this too. But a question to you guys, you can put in the comments. Who in your household usually takes care of all the tasks? Who is the one tracking everything? Who is the emotional manager? Who is the default? What is the default parenting roles? So just recognizing the invisible labor that you have as parents, that is not just like your work life, and it's not just the caring for it. Who is keeping track of all of your child's activities, of the doctor's appointments, of, Johnny seems a little upset right now, I need to check in on him. There's just a lot going on kind of behind the scenes, and that constant to-do list in your head that, again, will contribute to parental burnout. The next one. A couple other factors. Chronic stress. So the American Psychological Association describes burnout as the result of too much stress and the absence of resources to cope with it. Chronic stress can impair sleep, daily functioning, and heighten irritability and anxiety. It's common for parents to burn out when they start to feel overburdened with tasks and responsibilities. A parent who is already dealing with multiple stressors, such as working outside the home, being a single parent, having many young children, or parenting a child with special needs, may be less resilient to additional stress. Financial insecurity. Parents who have fewer economic resources are often forced to work longer hours, resulting in a stress-resource imbalance. In times of financial stress, it may be difficult for parents to be fully present and engaged in childcare responsibilities and tasks. Parents experiencing ongoing economic stress are also more likely to feel increased anxiety, irritability, and agitation. And this may influence anger or resentment towards their children. Again, this is an ongoing chronic thing where life factors are really impacting your ability to be present with your children. And when it becomes harmful, again, when it does turn into the anxiety and depression risks, when you do have increased irritability, and piling on that, the shame and isolation. Shame is, I call it the shame monster, because what it does is it just puts us in a hole and isolates us even more and makes us less willing to talk to others about what is going on. So it just kind of piles that on for us. Okay, next slide, please. So other kind of more early warning signs. The feeling like you're trapped. Again, that kind of goes back into our a little bit of the mammalian brain of the fight, flight, freeze, feeling like there is no getting away. I am a huggy person. I love getting hugs from my child, my family. When I am at my peak stress, I am touched out. And that was a very new experience that I had after having children of my love language is touch. But if I am feeling like I am touched out, that is almost a feeling of trapped. Think of like being backed into a corner. That would be an early warning sign. Snapping quickly. Again, talked about it a little bit before. If your reaction is just kind of that automatic snap, that might be an early warning sign to check in with yourself. Losing joy. If there are things that usually bring you joy that you are just kind of feeling numb, another warning sign. Fantasies of escape. Oh, if I could just be on the beach right now and not have to do this. I love my child, but I just don't even want to be a parent anymore. Those kind of fantasies, again, in small increments, is not bad, but that is, if you're starting to experience those more, a sign of like, oh, I need to maybe do something differently before I reach burnout. Next slide, please. So on the other side, protective factors. Let's see. We have social support. Again, the importance of social support. Please do not isolate yourself. Reaching out to others, talking with other parents, with moms, even just quick little check-ins is so helpful. If you have family in the area that can like support you too, any type of social support is a protective factor. Shared responsibilities, negotiating with your spouse or your loved one or your family on who is doing what. You do not have to be Superman, Superwoman, and do it all. So making sure that the responsibilities as far as parenting goes is being shared. Realistic expectations. So that one, I want to give an example with when it comes to like teens and healthy boundaries. So some examples that you can do for realistic expectations. Teens can handle their own laundry. So starting to give your kids some healthy boundaries and other expectations so you're not holding it all. I know that many of you, myself included, are caregivers. You like to care for others. But sometimes if we overdo that, we will take away their sense of responsibility and take away their sense of shared community. So it's kind of doing you not a favor and your child not a favor to do too much for them. So just keeping in mind, like, what are realistic expectations? Again, 2 or 3-year-old not going to do their own laundry, but 2 or 3-year-old might could help you sort, something like that. But a teenager, if you were doing laundry for a teenager, I think, is that a responsibility they might could do? So just ways that you can kind of share that shared responsibilities, even with our kids. Elementary students might pack their snacks in the morning. Again, what are some of these routines that we can get our kids involved in? The other piece is more free play. Parents have so many responsibilities and want to do all these cool activities for your kids, but studies have shown that kids also just need downtime, free play, where it's not super structured. The school day is already very structured. They have different classes. They know what the expectation is. So after school, having some free play is not a bad thing. And that kind of takes some of the pressure off of you of having to keep their schedule too packed. The more free play that parents spend with their children and the lighter the load of structured extracurricular activities, the fewer mental health issues in their children. So i.e. anxiety, depression, OCD, ADHD, and bipolar disorder. So contrary to kind of what our society says of we need to structure everything for our kids' minds do need that time to be bored. They need that time to just figure out what they need to do, explore their own creativity. And again, helping you around the house sometimes too. It might be like, oh, you're bored? That means you can clean. You can help me with the dishes. Come on in. Okay, maybe I won't do that. They'll find something to do. Let's see, what is our next slide, please? Some practical tools for tonight. A 2-minute reset. So again, when you get home, if you are feeling stressed and your kids, you can be like, you know what, we're just going to pause, do a 2-minute meditation, breathe, and then try to come back to it. It is also okay to take a mom break or to take a parent break. That is modeling to our kids how that we can regulate our own emotions. So if you are feeling overwhelmed in the moment, that often kids will feel that too, and it will escalate more than it will de-escalate. So if you're feeling you are snapping, if you're feeling like you are not in the right place to be responding right now, to be like, you know what, I need a pause, step away, take a 2-minute reset, and come back to it. Not only will that help regulate your own system, but it will help model to your children how they can do that too, to avoid those negative behaviors or negative coping skills that can lead to mental health or problem behaviors at home or school. One off-duty window. So that is something figuring out with, again, your spouse, your kids, of what is a window of time when you don't have to be on. That might feel like an impossible thing, but sometimes it is scheduling it for yourself. We put so much on our schedules, but we don't often schedule for ourselves. So that might be, you know what, in the morning, tell your kids, tell your spouse, for 15 minutes, I'm going to drink my cup of coffee and I am not on duty. Honey, if the kids need anything for the next 15 minutes, that is you. Giving yourself a little bit of space that you are not holding all of it. Drop one expectation. So pick your battles, I will say. Figure out what is realistic expectations for yourself, for your kid, for your family. When it comes to a clean house, again, I will say it drives me crazy when there are things all around, but sometimes life doesn't allow you to be able to do all of that. So figure out, what are my expectations? Are they realistic for me? Are they realistic for my family? And is this really what I need to be prioritizing right now? So if it is, you know what, I have fed everyone is safe, and I'm just going to get some cuddles, my living room is a mess, that might be okay for you. So figuring out what is your priority right now. Another day it might be, you know what, I am not in that space, I'm going to clean and they're going to do something else. But just figure out that, like, you always have to juggle what are your priorities, what is your family priorities, and what is your family values, and knowing that you cannot, no one is perfect, and it's not always going to be like that every day. Assign age-appropriate tasks. Again, what I said before, if it is a teenager, seeing what they can do. Function as a family, don't feel like you have to wear that superhero cape and do it all. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to assign, like I said, those age-appropriate tasks for kids. For younger kids too, this can work for older kids. Describing the green, yellow, and red light system. This is something, as a play therapist, I teach parents and kids all of the time. When our lids are flipped or when we are very stressed, sometimes our communication channels are not at their peak. So if you are stressed, you might not be able to calmly say, I'm really stressed right now, honey, I can't manage that. Same with a kid. If their lid is flipped, they're not going to be able to calmly state, I am upset right now, mother. No. So finding ways, the red light, green light, yellow light system is a really good way to communicate with your kids, with your spouse, with other people, of where you're at mentally. You might have had a hard day at work. You come home and you're being demanded left and right. You might be like, guys, I am on a red right now. I just need a little bit of time. Or just say, oh, I'm red. Oh, I'm yellow. Green might mean good to go. And again, that's something you can teach to your kids. If you are on a yellow, that might mean tread lightly. It might mean I need a little bit. Or what are the demands that I need to put on? Again, for you, and teaching that to your kids. If your kid is saying, like, I'm yellow, maybe they had a hard day at school. And so you coming, sitting in the car with them and asking them 10 questions, their brains can't handle that either. So instead of it feeling like you have to constantly talk, use the red light, green light, yellow light system around your household for yourself as well. The more you model it, the more your kids will be able to do it. Reevaluate priorities, communicate with your family. What is the most important? Again, the act of learning to let other things go, learning what is actually important right now for your household. Release the idea of perfection. The other thing that study has found, increasing your moments of gratitude in your daily life and with your kids. There is so much negativity in the world and in our media. It's easy to get sucked into that negative funk. Get outside. Several studies have found that time outside helps to reset our nervous system. This could be taking a short walk or just being outside and listening to the wind blow or feeling the sunshine on our face for a few minutes. So again, these are not huge things you have to do, but small things that we can put into our everyday life to just kind of help reset our nervous system and slow down so that parent stress doesn't turn into parent burnout. Let me see. One other practical tool before we go on to the next one. Oh, no, go on to the next one. Sorry. Okay. Helpful family routines is helpful. Predictable mornings. So figuring out if it is always a battle in the morning of what they're going to wear, pick out clothes in the morning. These are the times, especially in times of stress, you do want a little bit more of that structure. So putting that structure in your life during times where you don't have to think. We also have decision fatigue. There is actually a rate of how many decisions we can make in a day. And once we reach that peak, our brains are just done. So again, if you're at work and you're having to make decision after decision after decision, you're decision fatigued out. And so your kid asks you like, Mommy, what's for dinner? Know what's for dinner, honey. I don't even want to think. I just want to eat, put food in my mouth. I'm seeing people smile. I'm seeing people nod right now. So I think you guys can relate as well. So make those stressful times in your life predictable. Weekly quiet night. That might be, you know what? Wednesdays are just a quiet night. That's going to be where we all sit down and read, or Mommy has some quiet time. We all just kind of go to our own parts, or it can be quiet time together. But setting times in your week where it is downtime and it is not that expectation where you have to entertain or you're constantly having to do something. Shared calendars, there are apps for that, or even the good old paper calendar so that everyone else in your household knows what is on there. And again, it's not all on you to have to keep that in mind. Kids also thrive on having their own kind of independence and calendar. So sometimes having a calendar for kids can be helpful of like, oh, yep, today is my son's in a ninja class. So yep, he'll wake up and be like, today's ninja class day. Yep, it is, buddy. So that can help prepare him for what's happening in that day too. And emotional check-ins. Again, the red light, green light, yellow light. But you can also just do that with yourself, with everyone else. If you're feeling stressed, check in with yourself. Put your hand over your heart, breathe. How am I feeling right now? What do I need right now? And kind of just give yourself that moment. You can also check in with your spouse when you get home. How are you doing today? What is going on for you? What is going on for your child? Like just quick little emotional check-ins can be helpful so that we know how to respond to one another and your family knows how to respond to you in that moment. Next slide. So with the schools in particular, communication limits. These are more, there are lots, and Katie and Kelly can jump into, I know there are lots of different channels for communication for parents nowadays. There are apps for everything. There are apps for the school bus schedule. There are apps for every single class. You're getting communication from probably different teachers. Decide your communication limits. Clarify the urgency. What is actually needed now? Do I need to be checking this app every 5 minutes? Apps will send you push notifications. Do you need to turn some of those off? Figure out what the urgency is on all of those communication channels and what your preferred method of communication is, and decide on that one. And then avoid guilt volunteering. I want you guys to be able to be involved in your community and be involved in your child's life, but don't stretch yourself beyond the means just because you feel like it might be the right thing to do. That will breed resentment. Your kids will pick up on that. Other people will pick up on it. So if it is, I can't volunteer for the bake sale this time, but you know what? Maybe next time I will do that. We also have a tendency of overloading our future selves. In the moment we're like, oh, I'm really excited about that. Like, that sounds really great. So we'll volunteer for something. And then our future self is like, why did I do that? I really didn't want to. I don't have time for it. So keep that in mind. So avoid guilt volunteering. Next one, please. You're fine. And again, what is needed versus suggested with teachers, with parents, with schools. So when to seek support. So this is, again, the duration and frequency thing I was talking about earlier. So if these symptoms of irritation, of that constant stress is happening for more than 3 months, that is really getting into the burnout phase. That is not just an everyday stress. Detachment persists. Again, there are times when you might feel touched out. You might feel a little bit detached. If it is occasional, that is okay. You're able to recenter yourself. But if it is now going on for a long time and you're feeling numb, you're feeling detached, you definitely need to be reaching out for support. And your daily functioning is impacted. If you're struggling to get out of bed in the morning, you're struggling to do those normal daily tasks, definitely need to reach out for support. Even before then, reach out early. Connect with your loved ones, connect with your friends, connect with a mental health provider before it gets to this stage. If you're at that stage, you definitely need to be reaching out for support. Next one, please. And please know, seeking help is a strength. It is not a sign of weakness. We are social creatures. We need our village to survive. We're not meant to be in isolation or do everything ourselves. Here are some resources for you all. There is the Goochland Powhatan CSB. We have mental health supports, counseling, medication management. We have a coffee and conversation group at our Pathways at 10 a.m. If you want more information on that, please put it in the chat or let us know. I'm happy to talk with you more. There is a couple websites, healthychildren.org, that has really cool resources that are just free for parents. They have free workshop groups on there too. There is a book that I highly recommend called Good Inside by Dr. Becky Kennedy. She does have a paid app that you can do if that is something you want to do. However, I think the book is just a wonderful thing for every parent to read. I wish that we would all, I'd love to do a book club on it, but there's the Child Mind Institute, another website that has just great resources on child development and ways that you can support yourself. There is the 988 crisis line. So not 911. If it is a mental health crisis, please call 988 and that can connect you to a mental health provider. There is also the parent stress line, which in researching this topic, I didn't even know that existed, but I thought that was really neat. It is kind of like what they call a warm line. So it is if you just need someone to talk to, and it might be because of guilt, shame, any of those feelings, you're not ready to talk to someone that you know. This is a parent stress line where it is someone that can talk to you, that can relate, that you also don't know. And sometimes we need that. So another resource for you guys too. There are apps. I know I said technology, but sometimes it's just a matter of what type of technology you're using. So there are really cool mindfulness apps, Headspace, Calm, Mama Zen, Breathe, Think, Do with Sesame. So if you're looking for one that you can use with your kids, that might be a good one. If you're looking for one of just how do I meditate? How do I take those 2-minute breaks? Those are some apps that you can use. And then there's a link. I don't know if it's clickable on my side, but we can figure out how to do it. There is a parent burnout inventory. So if you are just wanting to check in with like, where am I? How do I determine? There is actually an inventory that you can take. You can kind of see where am I at and what are some of the areas that are impacting me more than others. Again, not something you have to do, but if this is something that you are wanting to kind of do a self-assessment on, you can kind of see where you're at in the low degree, moderate, and high. If you take this and you're in the high, please reach out. If you take this and you're in the yellow, please reach out. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. We cannot keep filling other people's cups if our cup is empty. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. And thank you for being with me today. We have a little bit more time, so if questions come up, I'm happy to talk with you all.
I don't see any questions that have popped up, but I'll give a little bit more wait time in case there's anybody out there that does have one. But while you're thinking, I just want to thank Heather for being here with us this morning. I will share with everybody that our Goochland Powhatan CSB is absolutely amazing. We have a great partnership with them. The schools in CSB, they work, alongside our counselors, alongside our parents, with our students. They have great opportunities for parents, community members, children at the CSB. They have individual support. They have group support. They have, like I said, they are just an amazing resource for anybody that would need any information for themselves, their spouses, their children, their parents, their neighbor. They're fantastic. So I would highly recommend reaching out to them regarding any topic that you have concerns about. So. And I don't see any questions specifically for you, Heather. But thanks again. And if y'all think of anything later, you can always reach out to our student services department, myself or Kelly, and we'd be happy to get back with you. I'm sure Heather's information is on the CSB website, so you can reach out to her as well. So I think at this time, we're going to wrap things up. But again, thank you all so much for joining us today. You being here and participating makes this a truly valuable conversation and a very important topic to discuss. We hope you found some good information and that it's helpful. We appreciate your time that you have spent with us. Just so you are aware, our next Powhatan Strong virtual chat is scheduled for January 15th. It will actually be at 12 p.m. So we are trying a different time of the day. So January 15th at 12 p.m. We will be discussing Powhatan County Public Schools family engagement and volunteer opportunities. It's going to be facilitated by our very own Jackie Moyer. So we hope you all will join us then. Until next time, take care, and thank you again for making our community Powhatan strong.